So we all noticed that right after Charlie Kirk killing, the right used that moment to strategically message all en masse about how it was the left, and this was the perfect opportunity for them to demonize the left even further. All things left of center, anything left of hard right. Ryan Enos, a political scientist at Harvard, in an email to the author of this article that said, "There's no doubt about what Trump is doing in the wake of Kirk's killing. His attacks on his political opponents are purely authoritarian, and he sees the killing of Kirk as an opportunity to accomplish what he has been talking about since he entered politics, using the power of the state to punish those who defy him." The reason that the Reichstag fire is such a poignant example of a pretext for an authoritarian power grab is not because it's unique, but rather because the consequences are now seen as so severe. There is a crystal clear pattern of leaders throughout history using moments of threat to expand power, usually at the expense of legal processes or civil rights. In retrospect, we can see those moments for what they are, but at the time, they're hard to push back on. And as we know, Trump came out with talking about having a meeting with Russ Vought, he of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democratic agencies, mostly of which are just a political scam, that he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. "I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity." Asked if Trump's comments were real or just a negotiating tactic, Caroline Leavitt, the White House propagandist, told Fox News, "Oh, it's very real, and the Democrats should know that they put the White House and the president in this position." That's like telling a woman after you punch her in the face 15 times, "God, see, look what you made me do. You made me mad. I had to hit you. You made me hit you." What the fuck? None of us are falling for this. She continued, "We put him in this position. If they don't want further harm on their constituents back home, they need to reopen the government. It's very simple. Pass the clean continuing resolution. It's not clean. And it all goes away. No, it won't. We'll just kick the can a few months down the road, and we're going to have another shutdown in 3 months. This is what happens ever since the Republicans have any kind of majority. We would not be having these discussions here at the White House today if not for the Democrats voting to shut the government down. This is an unfortunate consequence." What a dumb bitch. The brazenness of Trump and his MAGA loyalists has turned out to be one ingredient of their power. He said, since the government shutdown, he's canceled 321 different energy projects, altogether totaling $7.5 billion, almost all of which are in states that share 3 telltale characteristics. They voted for Kamala Harris, they have Democratic governors, and they have 2 Democratic senators, a group that includes California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Maryland, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, and Washington. I think he wants to keep it shut down. He'll want to keep it shut down as long as he fucking can at this point. Especially he's got billionaires from the Epstein list throwing money at him. Like, here, pay the military. Just don't open the government again. Don't let that list come out. Don't let those files come out. They're panicked. They're fucking panicked. This is going to be the first schism between MAGA and Trump. They're going to break. If they force this fucking vote, as soon as Adelita Grijalva gets sworn in, she's the 218th signature. They're going to get released. So they're not going to vote to block it. They can't anymore. And now, if forced to vote, they're going to vote to release it. From 50 to 100 Republicans will vote to release those files when they're put to the floor to vote. They are trying to avoid this at all costs. On the same day, the Department of Energy also announced that it would withhold $18 billion that had previously been awarded to New York City for 2 massive public work projects. Like in September, they fired as many 20 agents who had been photographed kneeling in connection with the killing of George Floyd in 2020. And then 5 days after that, Kash Patel fired a longtime bureau employee who displayed a pride flag in his workspace. 3 days after that was the day that Trump embarrassed himself and the United States of America in front of the generals. We know he's trying to cleanse the federal workforce of woke employees and everybody who was anti-Trump or even pro-Trump but won't do his bidding. They're trying to get out. It's creating a terrible atmosphere of intense suspicion amongst our active duty troops. This broad crusade against so-called woke ideology in the military is making the active duty troops stationed at bases across the country say that the effort has helped unleash a free-for-all of leaks and accusations. Liliana Mason, a political scientist at Johns Hopkins, wrote by email, "I can't pretend to know what the Trump administration is intending or planning behind the scenes. But I can say that taking advantage of a violent event to advance the oppression of a disliked group is a classic technique of aspiring autocrats. In my own research with Nathan Kalmo, we have found that leaders are uniquely capable of calming violent attitudes in the public. And as this administration does the exact opposite, it is certainly possible that they're just throwing matches on dry kindling. Theda Skocpol, a professor of government and sociology at Harvard, who's been closely tracking movements on both the left and right, showed no hesitation in declaring that Trump and his allies are trying to provoke protests and demonstrations that they can call violent. Cities, she continued, have long been demonized on the GOP Tea Party to MAGA right. I heard demonizing characteristic statements about cities and their residents in my field interviews, and even otherwise reality-based right-wingers from 2011 through 2018 and Fox News, etc., has fed a steady stream of the same pictures of urban property attacks for years. By now, Trump himself, many in Congress, and many in their voting followings live in a virtual world where cities are aflame and leftists are demons. That's all they push out. I noted that Trump and his allies moved with striking speed to capitalize on the Kirk killing and asked whether that suggested advanced planning that quickly geared up to build momentum immediately. She said, of course, this has all been planned for a long time, not always by an erratic Trump himself, but by Stephen Miller and others around the president. Trump's militaristic posture and rhetoric is to lay the basis for sending in federal forces to tear away voters in 2026. Violence certainly benefits a leader with authoritarian ambitions, as it provides the pretext for further power grabs and clampdowns on civil society. Roy True, a political scientist at Princeton, wrote, Trump wasted no time in blaming the left broadly for Kirk's killing, and in short notice deemed Antifa a terrorist organization, despite it not being an organization at all. This week he sought to socialize the military elite into the idea that American forces would be deployed to quell enemies from within. Violence in any direction plays into Trump's narrative that America needs the brand of authoritarian law and order that he aims to provide. He said that the Trump forces certainly saw an opportunity when Kirk's assassination unfolded, and they capitalized on it. They're trying to link the actions of the assassination to the broader claim that Trump is fascist or authoritarian, therefore immunizing themselves from the critique. This in turn intimidates the emerging pro-democracy movement and anyone who uses authoritarian language to describe this administration. He said that everyone he contacted for this article described what Trump is doing as a clear violation of democratic rules and guidelines governing peacetime activities. One person said, polarization feels almost quaint relative to the profound stress the Trump administration is imposing on our democracy. Sean Westwood, a political scientist at Dartmouth.